Someone who knows a thing or two about condos and building them. He's Brad Lamb. He's the president of Brad Lamb Realty and the Lamb Development Corporation. He's got up to 10 condo projects on the go in the city of Toronto, 1 in Calgary and 2 in Ottawa. So Brad, take on these CMHC numbers out today. It seems like a real surge there in multi-unit urban building. Is that sustainable? Is that kind of supply coming on the market sustainable?
Well, it is sustainable. You have to realize this is not, right? We want to repopulate and intensify the population of our cities. So the provincial policies that that sort of geared for this are we're actually fulfilling what the provincial and federal government wants us to do, which is cities. The numbers are a little skewed. I mean, you have to realize that a typical condo building is 300 units in the city of Toronto and Vancouver, and when 5 or 6 of those start in a single month, it can skew the results.
But are we really populating our cities? Because according to some studies, about 25% of the condos in Toronto, for example, might be unoccupied. Up to 80% of them in some parts of the city are bought by foreign investors who never set foot here. So are they driving this bubble?
Yeah, so the thing with this bubble idea is that it's really not true, and I'll tell you why it's not true. Currently in the city of Toronto, in the downtown core, the area that we call downtown is the 401 to the waterfront, Dufferin Don Valley Parkway. There are currently 500 for rent, condominium apartments for rent on the MLS. There are not 25,000 empty units in the city of Toronto. That's absolutely incorrect. CMHC is not right about that. What they're talking about is when a developer finishes a project, 80% sold out by the time they're completed. So there's 20% of the units unsold. They get sold very quickly when the building is done. There isn't an overhanging 25,000 units sitting empty. That's incorrect, false information.
A little bit more on foreign buyers, because it's an interesting phenomenon here. In other parts of the world, like Australia, foreign buyers have pushed up prices. They've been blamed for it. Here in the city of Toronto, condo construction, 50 to 80% foreign purchase in your buildings. And what does it say about the market? Is this a now globalized market?
Well, our particular business plan isn't to allow that number of investors or foreign buyers. We don't actually allow in our buildings. We look for people who are residents of Canada or citizens of Canada. They need an address and income here. But some developers do allow that, and you have to realize that Toronto is one of the few wealthy people from lesser economies can invest in easily. If you're from Iran, if you're from China, if you're from Korea, Thailand, I could name hundreds of countries where there's a lot of awfully wealthy people, and they don't have a lot of alternatives. You know, an Iranian's not going to invest in Syria. They're going to want to take their money into a safe place, and that would be Canada, the United States. And right now, Canada is the safest place to put your money in the world. A lot of money, not just in the condo market. It's in the stock market, it's in REITs, it's in industrial, it's in commercial. It's a huge amount of money coming to Canada, period, for real estate purchases.
At the same time, here CMA up against its $600 billion lending ceiling, and the response of the finance minister has been to say, well, we're going to now move control over to our top financial regulator in the country of CMHC. What do you think about that decision?
Well, that decision to me is a no-brainer. I wasn't the case before. It's a financial institution. It needs to be run by the overseer of financial institutions in Canada. That was a bad idea previously, and this is a smart idea.
Brad, what I'm taking away from you is a sense that, you know, this time is different. The factors, as you say, risk flight from countries like China and other places looking to Toronto and Vancouver as safe assets, growth up as opposed to growth out, maybe because of the green belt here in southern Ontario. But, you know, weren't those the very same arguments rolled out in the United States in 2008? You know, this time it's different. There's a different set of fundamentals, and then you hit that crucial ratio of debt to income, and the bubble pops.
Yeah, no, we're not in any way close to the same situation the United States was in. We don't have zero down mortgages. We don't have any of the things that the United States did with their easy money lending. We've not done. All our mortgages are insured, and if you're less than 20% down, it's not the same situation. But I want to be clear about this. Listen, real estate. The next time we have a recession, I guarantee you, real estate prices are going to drop. The question is, when is that going to happen? And it's not imminently going to happen. The economy is strong. It's getting stronger. Unemployment is decreasing. Interest rates are still very low. Prices are still low. In Toronto, the average selling price of a condominium is $400,000.
You know, the average. Let me stop you there. The average price of a house in Canada is $350,000, and we've seen some prices drop in Vancouver recently. The Vancouver market was also overheated. People want to know is how much is it going to drop? Because if you're buying your house or your condo now, it's the last thing you want to hear, right?
Well, it's unlikely that real estate prices will drop if you buy today. I mean, if you buy today, it's unlikely that in 3 or 4 or 5 years, when we have a recession, that you would lose money. But I think if you bought at the very end of it, perhaps in 3 or 4 or 5 years, you may be in a position where you might lose some money. But the key here is real estate is a long-term asset. You really have to stop counting your net worth after you've bought a property. Every year is a bad idea. Buy a property to live in and enjoy your life. And after 25 years, guess what? You own it.
Brad, final question. You know, you've been in this business since the late 80s, so you experienced the boom and the bust in the 90s when there was a big What's different now from then, you know, given your knowledge of, you know, how quickly things can turn? And they turned fast in the 90s with property values falling by, you know, upwards of 30%.
You know, I lived through that. It wasn't a great time. I'll tell you, there's several rates are not at 13%. Inflation's not over 10%. The government is not trying to extinguish growth. They're trying to promote growth. And Toronto is not the same city. With 3.2 million people then, there's 5.4 million now. It's a big, diverse, rich city. There's an interest and a demand to live downtown, and there was not that interest and demand in 1988, 89 to live downtown. People still want to live in the suburbs. It's a whole demographic shift into how people want to live now, and it's a worldwide trend. People are living in...
Thanks for some interesting insights today from a guy who knows a thing or two about condos. We appreciate it.
Thank you.